Hello everyone and welcome to this Video Sans Frontier video. My name is Jay Wakefield and today I know that I'm doing a video outside of my new schedule, but the way I figure this ThinkPad R51 has been long overdue some video time. Now of course I actually installed a 40 gig hard drive into this ThinkPad, a faster one. However, a couple of things have changed. First off, I made a mess of the Windows install, so I knew I was going to have to redo it. Second off, I actually came upon a 100 gigabyte hard disk. So I've decided to throw that in there instead. Now, a couple more notes before we continue. Jack Stavros, the IBM ThinkPad R51 guy, he doesn't call his channel Jack's Variety Show anymore, although YouTube will not let him change it back to IBM ThinkPad R51. Second off, he actually did tell me a couple of things about the ThinkPad, things that I'd kind of slightly got incorrect. Now, on this part here is basically just kind of some sort of hinge cover. I believe that's the one that is. I can imagine, thinking about it, I can imagine if I peeled back that rubber tab, there would be a screw of sorts that would basically hold the machine together. Also, another part, this one that you can barely see, I thought it was a 56k modem or something. Actually, no, I didn't. The modem's up there. Wasn't too sure what that was supposed to belong to. Turns out that this is the blanking plate for an optional IEEE 1394 Firewire port. So if I had one of those, if this had came with the Firewire port, it would live there instead of a blanking plate. Now, this won't take effect in my next couple of videos because I believe I've got them all uploaded, ready to release on Wednesday and Saturday. However, I have been listening to some feedback about my channel, and it seems that a few people have raised the issue with me about my intro and outro music being a wee bit too loud. Generally, you'll have to reach for the speakers to turn it down at the intro, then turn it back up to hear my voice, and turn it back down again for the outro music. Now, I'm aware that that will ruin the YouTube viewing experience somewhat, and it is quite jarring. All I can say is, look, I'm sorry, over the past 5 months I've not sorted that out. However, I've now undertaken steps to hopefully correct that, and they should be present on this video. If it's still a bit too loud or whatever, please let me know in the comments, usually down there, and I'll see what I can do. Apart from that, this is just going to be a regular video. So, there we go. Let's get started, shall we? Now, this 100 gigabyte hard disk came out of an Apple Mac, so this could be quite entertaining. I think I probably will have to go to the recovery console and see, what's to be done, and certainly fire off the fix MBR command. So, switch on the machine, repeatedly press F12, and then I'm at the boot menu. And I'm just gonna, whoops, sorry, I know I'm now out of shot. This table does need cleaned. Now, Oh, and if anyone's getting excited, wondering if I could boot from the hard disk and maybe get this to Hackintosh itself, unfortunately, no, because this came, this hard disk came from a PowerPC Mac. Not the G3, by the way. So, here we go. So we're now in Windows XP setup. You know, in all the times I've been using XP, I've never used the automated system recovery. I never used XP to install any third-party RAID drivers either. However, I have done in Windows 7. Details of that will be coming up soon. It's a video that I've need to have done for quite a long time, actually. So now I'm just basically loading up Windows XP setup. So now we're in Windows XP setup. What I'm going to do is repair the... I'm going to use the recovery console. Now in it, Windows XP, you literally just have to click R. And that will get you straight to the recovery console. Now, if there was a version of Windows installed on this hard drive, it would ask me to log in. However, because there isn't one, I am going to, you know, this just takes me to the command prompt. So what I'm going to do is disk part. That's actually came up as unpartitioned space. Quite interesting that that should do that. What I'm going to do is fix mbr. New master boot record has been successfully written. Oh yeah. Probably might be an idea to actually create a partition this time. So I'm going to go to disk part. And I will create a partition. There we go. And I'm going to format it. Format C:/Q/FS:/NTFS. Now, I fixed the master boot record on this hard drive because I do believe that it actually uses, I do believe that older versions of Mac OS X, certainly the PowerPC versions, need to have the hard disk set up as an Apple partition map. Whereas for older versions of Windows, it needs to be master boot record. Newer versions of Windows, depending on how you boot your machine, if you boot using BIOS, it would be you'd need the hard disk to be formatted. You'd need the hard disk to be of an MBR type. If you used UEFI to boot your machine, then you'll need it to be of a GPT type. Anyway, that's a hard disk completely formatted. I believe what we can do now is just exit out of the recovery console. Excellent. So the machine is actually now booting straight up off the CD. I think it would have done before, actually. Come on. There we go. Right. So I'll be back with you once it gets to the boot menu. Well, the startup screen, rather. Okay, so now we're starting Windows XP Professional Setup. Welcome to Setup. This portion of Setup, the Setup program prepares Microsoft Windows XP to run from your computer. To set up Windows now, press Enter. And press F8, and there's a new partition. And just to be sure, we'll format the partition quickly once again. Setup is formatting. Good, it's formatted. Now it's checking the disks. Good. So now Setup is actually away installing Windows XP. I will join you once it's at the end of text mode. This is probably going to take too short of a time for you to be able to actually make yourself a cup of tea unless the kettle has already boiled. But certainly you could actually get out a cup, put a tea bag in it, put sugar in it, and actually fill the kettle up with water and switch it on. Although, to be honest, the next part of setup after it reboots usually takes quite some time because it's a detecting devices stage. So, yeah, chances are you'll probably have time to make a cup of tea. In fact, you will do. Excellent. I've made it back just in time for the end of the text portion of setup. Needed to get a couple of things that I will actually need for setting up this computer. Now, here we get to find out if the master boot record works. Oh yes. The master boot record works just fine. Absolutely fantastic. Now, this is going to take a wee while, so I'll be back once it's time to put in the data. Registration data. Okay, so we're at the usual portion of Windows XP setup. Going to set the system locale. Right. Interesting side note about this keyboard. You might notice it looks a wee bit different from keyboards on my other machines. Well, that's because it's a Spanish keyboard. Now, while a Spanish keyboard is, definitely supported in Windows XP, some of the characters I find it difficult to get to because everything's just not where I expect it to be. Luckily, I do believe there are the same number of keys on the Spanish keyboard as there is on a UK keyboard. I kind of found that out when I installed XP on the faster 40 gig drive. And completely forgot that the keyboard used a Spanish keyboard layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the United Kingdom keyboard layout so I can actually, I know where all the keys are. Doesn't necessarily matter to me that the keycaps all say different things. I am a touch typist. But it's more the punctuation. The different punctuation symbols are in completely the wrong place. Well, they're in different places than I'm used to. They're not in the wrong place. Different keyboards for different users you can. Right, So now it's just a case of typing my name, company name. I just kind of type J Wakefield Computers out of habit now. I mean, J Wakefield Computers as a business has basically been out of business now for 2 years. It's just kind of habitual now. Anyway, I'm going to put the product key in and I'll be right back. Fantastic. Now let's name the machine. Actually, no, you know what? I've decided to give this machine a different name, if you will. I've decided I'm going to call it Matilda. Now to put the password in. Right, that's good. I think good. Now let's check the date and time. 3 o'clock, Sunday, June the 7th, 2015. Automatically adjust clock for daylight saving changes. GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, Dublin, Edinburgh, Lisbon, London. Now to click next. Now, I can't remember whether the network card in this machine is detected auto-magically or if it needs drivers to be installed. I think it needs drivers to be installed. If the network card or the modem were to be detected automatically by Windows XP setup, you'd be invited, after the installing network process is finished, to actually configure it. And, you know, while I'm talking about this, FireWire ports do register to Windows as network adapters because they can be used to connect two computers together in a networky, peer-to-peer-y kind of way. Nowadays, though, I actually have two network structures kind of running within the same network. You know, and I will kind of talk in more detail about that, you know, maybe in a different video. First off, what I've actually done is I actually have, well, actually, if you'll follow me under the desk, I'll kind of show you. Hello, my friends. I wanted to introduce you to my new Blink Blink. Yep, I actually bought myself a wee switch, and I know the wiring is terrible, but quite frankly, you do not need to comment on that. So I have a switch that's connected to my router, and that basically means I can wire up a few more machines. I've got the Dell Dimension 4100 wired up. Dell Dimension 4600 I want to wire up. I will be doing that soon. My main machine is wired up, and there's a spare network cable for wiring up laptops. And the reason I've done this is so that I can actually get faster file transfers across the network. I don't see it making my internet any faster, if I'm going to be honest, because you know, I mean, the speed is my internet speed is 20 megs. But back to my network infrastructure. For my modern computers, I actually just kind of have a peer-to-peer network. Files shared from my main machine, you know, to the network, you know, can be accessed by any computer on it, as long as you have, you know, my username and password. But then, for older machines, I wanted to network those up so that file transfers could be made a lot easier. Now, as you may or may not be aware, while Windows 8.1, and Windows 7 for that matter, can see Windows 98 machines and I think even 95 machines on the network, while they will see your Windows 7 or 8 machine on your network, it can't access it. So what I've done is I've installed Windows 2000 Server in a VMware box, and I've made a domain. So my older machines, yes, I can get on the network and do regular network activity, but I do have a pool of files on this machine, on this NT domain, that I actually use, with my older machines. And basically, I'll just kind of use the machines, log on to the NT domain to be able to kind of transfer files back and forth. Now, this can be risky because this does mean, because the domain is on the same network as my internet connection, this can mean that older computers can have access to the internet. And to be honest, Microsoft doesn't want that happening. So it's a good idea to really kind of try and protect yourself, if you're doing that sort of stuff. But to be honest, I quite fancied having to play about with Active Directory as well. I know it's an old version of Active Directory. It's the first version actually of Active Directory, but I really quite fancy kind of playing about with it. And it will actually help, some older machines, gain access to files and what have you that are on, my network. And, I think that's a brilliant thing. So far I've managed to get my Compaq Armada 1590 DT talking to the machine, talking to the server, and my Dell Dimension 4100, as well as a virtual machine. Pixie Boot is also available on the network, so I can install Windows 2000 Professional directly over the network, which is quite nice. And yeah. Anyway, I believe I've actually spoken about what I've done with my network now. I will say this, the Windows 2000 server is only switched on when I need it. If I'm messing about with a more modern computer, like this one, that doesn't need to be connected to the domain, so therefore it isn't. Literally, I can just plug it in, it sees my main computer sees it, I can install drivers, for pretty much anything, and, the slow speed of transferring stuff across my network should be gone. I mean, I was using the network with my Compaq Armada 1590 DT, and files on the network actually were very, very quick to transfer. It, basically about as quick as a local drive. So, I'm very pleased with that. Because before, if you remember, my network, it would take ages to kind of get anything across, and some things, you just couldn't really get across the network. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Now, it's just basically time to set this XP installation out, so I'll be back with you once it's done, although it pretty much is done now. Okay, so now Windows is removing any temporary files used. Don't get too excited, it only does that on the local computer, not across a network. So you won't go to your main machine and find it's all nice and clean, and all the junk left behind by your video editor will have been gone. Excellent. So now we're going to be booted up into the out of the box experience for Microsoft Windows, which will allow me to set the machine up. I won't activate now. I'm going to be using the product key on the bottom of this machine, but due to the nature of the Windows XP Professional disk I've used to install it, I've actually had to put a product key in that is compatible with that one. So what I plan to do is use the Microsoft key update tool to update the machine. So it's using the key from on the bottom of the machine, rather, and you know, that will make the install completely legal. It'll activate it, and it will actually be using the OEM license, which is tied to this ThinkPad R51. You never really get to see that animation unless there's video drivers installed, which I think this actually has Microsoft versions of the correct video drivers installed for this machine. Yes, I do want to help protect my PC by keeping it up to date. Thank you. I also want the hard disk to be accessed for no reason. Now, who's going to be using the machine? Just me. See, there's sound on here. Did you not just hear Windows XP start up? That totally wasn't me. That was Windows. What? What are you trying to say? Windows XP startup sound is elegant and full of pianos, and that was just kind of me singing off key? Jens, what you take me for? Anyway. Time to secure my user account. Set the picture to the palm trees. Another Windows XP era tradition of mine. Type in a password. Okay, so that's my user account set up with a password. Oh, one moment. Eine Minuten. Mouse and I would like le curseur grand noir. Right, now it's time to actually install all this lot, and I'm going to try and install it in the order that it was meant to be installed in. So rather than make you guys sit here and watch me trawl through a bunch of ThinkPad R51 driver installs, what I'm going to do is shut off the camera and do it myself, and you know, once this machine's all drivered up and activated, then I will get back to you, and then we can actually install some applications and have some fun testing out the machine. Be right back. Okay, so now what we have is all the drivers installed. A lovely desktop background setup. This is the fairy pools, I believe, in the Isle of Skye. Beautiful. And I'm currently, oh yeah, I've got the unofficial service pack 4 up and running. Oh, one note about that. If you have to use Microsoft's key update tool to activate Windows, you know, again, that is a legitimate piece of software from Microsoft, you know, that allows you to use a Windows XP key with a version of Windows XP that might not otherwise be supported. For example, using an OEM key, say one on the bottom of a laptop or on the side of a desktop machine with a retail copy of Windows XP, obviously of the same version. You know, if you were wanting to use the key update tool, make sure you use that first before upgrading to the unofficial service pack 4. Because if you don't, what will happen is the key update tool just will not work. It'll say that the files are all different, you know, and if you tell it to continue, it'll just error out. This is kind of why I needed to... James, look at how quick that's going. Oh yeah, probably because they're all tiny wee programs. But yeah, if you're, this is basically what scuppered me before, and, I had to reformat and reinstall, and then I got my hands on that 100 gig drive, so I thought, well, why not? Why not just kind of throw that in there and, do it that way? So now this machine's got a hard drive, which actually means something. One thing I would like to say as well, the R60, yes, it does exist. Again, thanks, Jack, for that. Also, I would like to upgrade this machine to 2 gigs of RAM at some point. Just need to get my grubby wee mitts on some laptop DDR2. Let's try that again. I need to get my mitts on some laptop DDR1 memory. Whoops. DDR2 will not really fit that well into this machine. It's quite funny because, I have this machine, this R51. It's quite similar to the Dell Latitude D510. But, like I've said before, well, I don't know if I have said before, the D510 does in fact use DDR2 memory, whereas this uses plain old DDR1 memory. Not sure how much of a difference that makes, but, it's kind of nice to have the upgraded standard. However, the Dell Latitude D510 was a mid-2000s D-series laptop. Not the best in the world for build quality, weren't those? Bit of a shame, really, because I really do very much like Dell machines. However, this was when ThinkPads were becoming good again. Now, I do want to talk a wee bit about this, so I shall. I used to be one of these people who thought that only IBM could make a good ThinkPad and Lenovo didn't stand a chance. Well, it turns out that I'm a flaming idiot for thinking that. I even commented on one of UXW Bill's videos with the same thing. However, before you all start rushing to the comments to actually tell me how much of an idiot I am, I already know that. See, while in the 90s, IBM ThinkPads were fantastic. Okay, they had fragile plastics, as did most other machines of that time period. But in basically the year 2000, everything kind of went to pot, really. Things like the T20 series of machines, really not the best in build quality. I've had more of those die than I would care to mention. I think I've had about 3 T21s. And they're not the best in the world, I have to be honest. They do die very, very commonly. And it is a real shame. Also, while Dell's screens, they could actually display lower resolutions while panel fitting, and the image would be slightly blurred. Not too bad. It's just obviously the lines would be softer. The ThinkPad T20 series screens still used, they were still kind of very distorty. Like older laptop screens would be if you displayed a resolution lower than its its native resolution. So, really, they kind of lost their reputation, really. I was told in 2004, ThinkPads are brilliant, they're so durable, you could throw them around. Maybe some of them you can, but certainly the T20 series, you couldn't. Other machines that they had around at the time, the A20 series, again, didn't enjoy very good build quality at all, which again was quite a shame. The A21s, for example, they died a lot. it wasn't really until the T42 that they started getting good again. And this ThinkPad R51, yes, it says IBM, as do a few of the T and R60s. But by this time, IBM had pretty much sold their computer business to Lenovo, who started to, who were actually making these machines. Now, okay, there were some machines in the crossover period. Some said IBM on them, some said Lenovo on them. So, by the time the ThinkPad brand started getting reliable again, it was pretty much Lenovo making them, believe it or not. And, I would say that they've been consistently good ever since. I've had the R61, I've had an R61i. And okay, I did get put off by the plastic on my original R61i cracking underneath the optical drive. But that machine works. And it's there's also the newer machines like the Sandy Bridge machines, the Ivy Bridge machines. Okay. Now, the last of the Core 2 Duo series, the T500, the R500, they weren't the most reliable. And neither was the T410. But, apart from those, they've made some pretty good machines. T420, for example, that's a fantastic machine. T430, that's a pretty good machine, even though it no longer uses the traditional ThinkPad keyboard. T440, probably not one of their finer efforts because they got rid of the track point buttons. That upset a lot of people. But Lenovo did listen, actually. And in the newer machines, they're going to be putting those back. So, I would say that, I would actually say that, with the ThinkPad, with the ThinkPad computers under the ownership of Lenovo, they don't do too badly at all, and really, I think I just kind of needed more time with Lenovo's ThinkPads, and possibly more time with the ThinkPad T21, or several, to kind of realise that, actually, Lenovo ThinkPads are pretty good. So, yeah, lesson learned. Anyway, once again, I'll be back as soon as I've installed more software. I think I'm going to leave this going and go have a wee bit of a rest or something. So, yep, I'll be back later on. But for you guys, it should just be a second or so. Well, guys, quite a lot of time has elapsed since I started this video. I had hoped to get it out on Sunday, to kind of go back to back with the, well, not necessarily back to back, but certainly upload it a day after the installing the hard drive video. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be, and there's a good reason for that. Now, I went to install, I think, Microsoft Worksuite 2006 onto this machine, and I actually found that it was not reading from the DVD. It would read from CDs just fine, but just not DVDs. I also found that I actually also found that when I had originally tried to install the Windows XP Professional slipstreamed with the unofficial service pack 4, which was also on a DVD. This was when I'd fitted the faster 40GB hard drive. That wouldn't install either. I'd just get, a nasty kind of clicking sound from the drive. I thought it was a disk. I mean, I didn't throw the disk away or anything. I thought, well, I'll just put the disk off to one side, test it on another machine because it was freshly bound. But once I tried it with yet another DVD, I found that the DVD drive was indeed broken. So I have managed to install Worksuite 2006 and Office 2003, which I also kind of put all of the Office 2003 installers onto a DVD as well. In fact, actually, I think that's what I was installing, not Worksuite. I tried installing them. I did manage to get them installed by using an external DVD burner. However, I did want to see this machine up and running properly again. Now, I thought at the time that I would actually. I thought at the time that the machine had came equipped with a DVD writer drive, and I also found that at least in the UK, replacement DVD writers for these ThinkPad R51s were very expensive. However, it wasn't until I actually pulled the drive out of the system to try and find a model number that I actually realised that it was a DVD-ROM CD-RW combi drive. And with that in mind, I actually went back on eBay and was able to find a replacement DVD-ROM CD-RW combi drive. I think I paid just under £4 for the drive, and that's including postage. So the drive arrived this morning. This morning being Friday, June the 12th. And here it is. It's a DVD multi-reader, I think. Yeah, DVD multiplayer. Sorry, let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, DVD multiplayer. That logo is confusing because I generally have only seen that on DVD writer drives, but this is a DVD multiplayer and compact disc rewritable drive, ultra speed, apparently. So, with this being a business class machine, installation of this drive is very simple. Firstly, what I do is I move the camera, then I focus it. Then there's a wee catch. It's a very small wee catch, but it's there. It's on the bottom of the machine, and what you do is you actually slide it towards the back of the machine, and then this wee handle pops out. Now, with that wee handle, what you do is you grab it and then you pull it, and the optical drive comes with it. And what you do, you slide out the old optical drive. There we go. It's also a DVD multiplayer. So much so that you can't actually, it won't focus. But it actually tells you what drive it is. CD-RW DVD. Ultra Bay Enhanced. And I think you can see it there, DVD multiplayer. Now, don't need that drive. Put it to one side. What I do need, however, is the new drive. Literally, all I need to do with the new drive is just kind of line it up, slide it in until it clicks, and then push the handle back in, and that will click as well. And there we have it. The new drive is now installed and ready to go. Now, these are the same drives that the ThinkPad R61 uses. And I think the T42, R60, T60, you know, all that good stuff. Anyway, why don't we start up the computer? Most of the software is installed. There's just a couple of wee bits that I would like to install, and maybe a game or two. You know, I think I'll have to close the blinds again. I hate doing that because I like natural light, would you believe? Right, okay. This camera work today is kind of reminding me of what my school reports would sometimes say, that I really need to focus. Joking aside, I did do alright in school, actually. I had good support. So, that's probably why I did alright. Ah yes, the IBM ThinkPad R51's unique login system. Checking the status of the embedded security chip. It's not fully woken up yet. Maybe it was out drinking last night. Come on! You lousy drunk. Right, so now I can just log on. So I'll do that. So now it'll go away and authenticate. I think this is, logging in aside, I think once the system's started up, I think it is a wee bit faster, and I think it has genuinely benefited from the speed. So, here we have it. The machine is fully loaded up, nearly. There we go. Right. So the Access IBM button does work. Again, that takes a wee bit to come up sometimes. But it has a nice wee jingle when it does come up. Obviously, the machine is just kind of starting up. There was a lot to Windows XP back in the day. Well, certainly around about 2006-ish, there's just so much. Oh, here we go. Of course, people didn't help themselves by having Google Desktop installed. I had it for a while, but didn't very much like it, so I got rid. I must admit, I do quite like that wee chime. So that is kind of like the Lenovo ThinkVantage toolbox. which is also old and obsolete. And it basically is a go-to place for, everything you need to know about your system, like the system features, configuration, protect and recover, downloads and updates, and stay current. Okay, that is all very well and good, but so far the optical drive has basically just sat there. First of all, we need to check if it's even detected by Windows. Yes, it is. DVD CDRW drive. But now, we need to check to see if the drive even works. And that means we've got to do some snow dog testing. No, literally, we're actually going to do some snow dog testing. Now, I'm not really going to be able to show much of this, because if this snow dog testing gets out, we're fucked. Seriously. I'm not sure if this drive has had a region set yet. If it's not, then I'll be the first to do it. It'll be region 2, which is Europe. Something's happening. The computer's thinking. There we go. This is a version of InterVideo WinDVD player that came from Lenovo's website, which is for this laptop. Some versions of WinDVD player had a way of detecting if it was being installed with the right hardware. And yes, this laptop is an OEM container for WinDVD license, so it installed. So it's perfectly nice and legal. Again, this is going to take a wee while. It's the first time I've started it in a while. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show, I think, the DVD up to the main menu. And then we'll take it out, because I don't want to be showing any of the film. I do not own the copyrights to it, and I'm pretty sure that you don't want to get the Disney Corporation annoyed. I mean, I could find myself shackled to the Small World ride in a matter of minutes. Something's happening. And I've often found Cyberlink's Power DVD is faster than WinDVD. So it's definitely thinking now. The big egg timer is here. Oh dear, I'm going to be the first to set this DVD drive's region. So, It's quite interesting to see who uses the different regions. I am in Western Europe, so we use region 2, as does Japan and South Africa. I did have a feeling that South Africa used region 2. So if I wanted to, if I wanted to import a copy of the Vuvuzela Brigade plays Johannesburg, that would work on any of my DVD players. So there we go. It's actually loaded. I just selected my language. Yes. Windows, Walt Disney Home Entertainment. Well, here is the main menu. So away we go. So we've done some Snowdog testing and found that the DVD drive seems to work, at least for DVDs. This one might not read CDs for all I know. But hopefully it should. So there we have it. So, what about the rest of the machine then? Does that work? Well, let's find out. Okay, let's do some sound testing. Yep, that works. That works perfectly fine. I suppose we can have a look at some of the other programs. Take a wee look at WorkSuite. I do believe as well, actually, that the lowly 1.5 gigahertz Pentium M in this machine is holding it back. And I think in the not too distant future, I probably will be upgrading it to something like, I really don't know. Might have some 1.6s around. I think I probably do. If not, I'm probably going to get something like a 1.86 and, put that in and call it done. Along with an extra gigabyte of RAM. So it can, basically be in kind of similar spec to my Dell Inspiron 6000. I mean, because that machine is fantastic. This one is fantastic as well, but it's just a wee bit slow. Oh, as you can see, and it's, obviously the hard drive would have had something to do with it being a lowly 4200, but, we're on a 5400 now. It's time it grew up. Right. So that's good. Got Microsoft Works on the, Microsoft Word on there. Then we have Microsoft Encarta 2006. Again, this is very slow and I apologise. And to be honest, I kind of think I'm letting the side down, the IBM ThinkPad R51 side down, because I know this computer has the potential to be absolutely fantastic. And I think the processor and the CPU are the same thing. Yes, that's what I think. I think that the processor and the memory are letting the side down. You know, we need more RAM, need more CPU, just more CPU, and just gonna get a wee Tupperware box full of Pentium M CPUs, and then just kind of pour them all over the ThinkPad in the hopes that it'll make it faster. Yeah, this is definitely not going as well as I would have hoped. I mean, I've never had a version of Encarta stop responding while it's looking up an article. Right. You, I've had enough of. Right. When I said bacon, what I meant was bacon, not Sir Francis Bacon. Let's have a look. Wow, so many people called bacon. I wonder if Sandwich ever had an Earl whose last name was Bacon. Prison? You're nuts! Why would prison be anything to do with a bacon sandwich? Jinx Crivens. That's just... yeah. Yeah. I really don't know what to say to that. Anyway, because I'm networked up, let's see if we can take this thing online. That took so long. But let's see what we have now. Does it do YouTubing? Yeah, that's went so well, hasn't it? Well, I think that is a sod-off autoplay. You're not wanted here. Oh, jinx. Right. I'll switch that off in settings. There we go. So, I think that'll do it for this video. I do like the IBM ThinkPad R51, but I do think that we can speed it up. And yes, I am aware that the ThinkPad R51 is 10 years old. However, I know it can go faster than this. So, with that said, I hope you have all enjoyed this video. If you have, please feel free to subscribe, to follow Video Sans Frontières on Facebook, and of course, please also feel free to follow me on Twitter. That said, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you'll all join me for my next one. Goodbye.